Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy Sunday to you all. Long time no see. Guys, I am glad to be back on your screens after the marathon pageant that we had last week. And, it's been a very, very, how will I say, a busy, busy pageant journey for me. From Face of Hope to Masters of Nigeria, Miss World Nigeria. It's been a lot, okay? So you're all welcome to today's discussion. It's going to be a general discussion, okay? So if you have an opinion, you can comment down below and I will bring you up on stage. But before that, I will share the link for you to click on it and come on stage if you have any discussion on the topics that we are going to be talking about. Okay, so let me just run you guys through on what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be a general discussion, recap, and the recap of recent events. And the recent events being the Face of Hope pageant, Masters of Nigeria, and also if there's time, we can talk about Miss World Nigeria, but I don't think that will be possible because that will be for another video, that will be for another live stream entirely. So we're going to be focused more on Face of Hope pageant and Misters of Nigeria. Okay, those going to be our focus. Face of Hope pageant and Misters of Nigeria. Okay, so that's going to be our major focus in this conversation. Okay, so I will put on the link for you guys very soon. But before then, let me just give a recap of Face of Hope pageants and all that happened. You guys know what has been going on. You guys know that Queen Dami won the pageant after a very, very long pageant streak. Okay, she has been, you guys know her journey in the pageant world. Okay, Damilola is not a new face. This is her second national title, and the first being Miss Grand Nigeria, where she went on to represent Nigeria in Miss Grand. She went to represent the country in Miss Grand International in Thailand, and she placed top 20. Yes, she placed at the top 20. So Damilola is a very, very, very experienced queen coming into the pageant. She is, oh, good evening, sir. You're welcome. She is an experienced queen, and I would say congratulations to her for winning the Face of Hope pageant. This pageant is not a new pageant. Apparently, they've been around for a very long time, probably 2 or 3 years. Yes, it's not like this is the first edition, but because they just got the franchise of Miss International, so that was how a lot of persons got to know about Face of Hope, and they have raised the bar so high that other pageants are now emulating what they've been doing so far. And also we have another pageant, Misters of Nigeria. Of course, you guys know that Misters of Nigeria has been in the picture for a long time, and they became very popular when they won Mr. International. Okay, so yes, it's a very, very relatively close pageant, Miss International, Mr. International, right? So yes, Misters of Nigeria, they held their pageant on Thursday, that's last week Thursday, and I'm going to be talking about that, the results, and also the results of Face of Hope. Okay, so it's going to be a general discussion. Like I said, I'm going to be dropping the link very soon for our guests to come in. Okay, I'll drop the link very soon for our guests to come in. All right. So that's the link. All right, so that's the link for our guests to join us in this general discussion. So what I want to start it off with is Face of Hope post-pageant analysis, or just your reaction to Face of Hope, what you think about the final results. And you guys know I've done my own post-pageant analysis, okay? So I was just talking generally. So we're going to go in depth, into what has been going on in the pageant world, especially Face of Hope and Misters of Nigeria, and any other thing that that we need to discuss based on what has been going on in the pageant scene lately here in Nigeria. Okay, so that is what we are going to be discussing about. So let me inform my Instagram audience, because a lot of my Instagram audience do not know when I come on live. Okay, so let me just inform them that I'm live. All right. So in case anybody wants to join us in this discussion, they can. Okay, so all right, so I just informed my Instagram audience. Okay. So based on the results of Face of Hope, a lot of persons still claim that it wasn't free and fair, based on what we saw at the grand finale. So persons still claim that it wasn't free and fair. That it wasn't free and fair, that there were some issues in terms of the voting. I remember I talked about voting in my previous live stream, where I said, is voting and fiscal screening, are they can they go together, or is one more important than the other? Okay, I discussed that in my live stream I did some days back, where I talked about voting in terms of picking of candidates and all. You guys know that the Face of Hope, they actually had a long streak of voting for their candidates, and most of the candidates they were not, that they don't have a lot of votes, were not they were, they didn't make it to the finals. Okay, so voting was a very important factor in terms of decision making, which of course was very, very obvious, because the winner of the pageant actually had the highest vote. In fact, they were updating us during the live telecast of the pageant on that, in the hall on that day. We were being updated on who was leading in the voting, and the voting ended at about 1:30 a.m. 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m. That was when the voting ended, and Queen Dami got the highest number of votes. Okay, so some persons are saying it was the votes that made her win the pageant, while some said no, it was her experience, it was her performance, and it was the fact that she was the best out of the best. Some other persons thought Anambra would have been the winner, or would have been she would have done better, or rather Anambra would have been the better winner for the pageant, or for Miss International. Okay, so what are your thoughts, guys? Let me know. Say, I'm trying to join. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm not seeing your notification. I would have added you to stage. Then, of course, Misters of Nigeria, of course, the results were, I posted the video today, so you guys must have seen that video. What do you guys think about the final result? Do you think the winners were, it was a free and fair judgment? Because, of course, my own opinion might not be your own opinion, okay? So, add to stage, and yeah, Mr. Xavier Wisdom is on stage. Can you hear me? Sorry, I think the network is bad. Sorry, guys, his network is very, very bad. I can't hear him very well, and the setting was bad. Maybe he will have to come back again.
Hello?
Okay,
Can
can you
you
hear
hear
me?
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Just that your background is speaking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. I think it's
Oh,
clearer
my
now.
apologies. My apologies. I was trying to log in and I had issues with it.
For your line.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just that we have a little bit of
Can you
background
hear
noise.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Good evening, everybody. Thanks for
Good
having me
evening.
on your show.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so I'm sorry. I missed part of what you were saying, show.
Okay, what part so I can refresh or I can just rephrase
No, but
what I
when I
said?
was trying to, I stopped at I was trying to log in at a point where you were saying about Mr. International and Miss International setting the bar high for all other beauty pageants and contests.
Yes, yes, yes. I was just making a general observation before I asked the question on if the pageant, if the results, the final results of the of Face of Hope, if it was if it was free and fair, and if the results influenced the judging, the voting results influenced the judging, the final that's judging of the pageant. Because why I've said or why I mentioned that was because the winner actually had the highest votes, in the competition. So I just want to ask a question, throw it to the audience and let us know your thoughts. If actually the voting influenced the judge's decision in terms of the winner of a Face of Hope. That was number one.
Okay.
Number two, I also talked about the judging, sorry, the final results of Masters of Nigeria, if it was free and fair. Those are the two topics that we have today.
All right. Thank you for having me on this show, and thank you for throwing this open for everybody to have the opportunity to say at least their opinion regarding what's going on in the pageant world, especially on a home basis, the Nigerian front. First, you are doing a wonderful job. I must take out this time to commend you. Having to
Thank
juggle
you.
family and job, knowing fully well that, of course, YouTube cannot be a mainstream for anybody's means of livelihood there in Nigeria. There is no way you are able to sustain. So then having to have time to bringing us all these updates regarding pageant. We want to commend all your efforts that and time that you put in. We also want to say that you look pretty in your yellow dress and on the red carpet or the blue
Oh,
carpet
thank you.
when you had gone to Face of Hope, and we know that it's the beginning of the good things to come. You know, great things starts with small beginning, and with time, the job that you're doing that nobody's recognizing, the platform that you have, that you are being very, very factual and truthful about the whole scenario, even when some people want you to sugarcoat the truth, and you still remain firm. We have noticed all over the world that people who are true and just don't particularly grow at an exponential rate. But we know that with time, your channel is going to grow. My contribution to the pageant, the two pageants that just ended. Before I say anything regarding the two pageants that ended, I woke up this morning and I was very, very pissed and pained for something, and I will mention that to you and for the whole audience to hear. I woke up and I saw Miss Nigeria Independence. I don't know if you saw that clip where she was busy canvassing for votes, and she's competing on an international level, and she doesn't have votes. And because you brought up this issue of if voting influences the judges, and I'm like pained because in the history of beauty pageant, the rationale, the principles that govern the world of beauty, before they start calling it a beauty pageant, it was first of all called a beauty contest. So what actually takes you there in the first place is that you know that physically you look better off than an average individual. That's the first ticket to compete. That, oh, my legs are straighter, my skin is prettier, I have those qualities that most people don't have. So I qualify to be in a pageant. That's why it's called a beauty pageant. And it was actually created to be able to empower the youths, girls particularly from that era, because the society were all built around men and women were being subjugated. So the beauty pageant platform or the beauty contest platform was actually a platform for empowerment of people, not a platform to be able to create an anxiety or to be able to industry now is kind of with this voting, it's bringing down the morals of these young girls and young boys that go into this pageant seeking a voice, seeking a platform, seeking an avenue to be able to be heard, their voices to be heard, their talents to be seen. Again, you open this line for everybody to call in and contribute. There is nothing special about me contributing. So everybody's opinion, it's everybody can call in and air their opinion. This is my opinion. This is my observation. The audience do not need to buy it. People do not need to agree with me, but this is from the perspective at which I see it. So I see this voting um, venture, let me call it a venture, as an avenue that has just created so much anxiety. The beauty industry is supposed to be you going for it and you go into it and you're very relaxed and you rely on your talent. Because in the history before, if you go check out all old beauty queens, they say, oh, my friend registered me. I didn't even have money. I didn't even have this, you know. That's what people say. But it's not the same anymore. So people's talent, people's natural dexterity, people's natural beauty, and what they have to offer to the society or to themselves, it's no longer in this voting system. that is eating deep into the pageant industry, not just on the Nigerian basis, on the African basis. Why it seems pinching us more on the African basis, it's because we don't have the finance and the liberty that the Western world does have. For example, a young girl who is a secondary school girl in a remote village somewhere in Delta or in Rivers or in the remote village of Okoko, they had seen the likes of Kachi and Agbani and the rest of them that want to be part of this industry. They don't have credit cards. They don't even have cell phones. How are they able to come in and contribute and vote to support a dream that they like? So it's making it more saddening that more and more of these franchise people are not understanding how this voting it's psychologically and emotionally affecting these contestants. Apart from the contestants, the toll is taken on of everyone whose family member or whose friends are competing and they don't have money and they don't even have the means to be able to do that. So the voting has created more anxiety than creates a fair and free contest platform for the individuals. It means if I go in for a contest, I'm smart enough, I'm physically pretty enough, but I do not have a fan base that have money to be able to come and support me. I'm not supposed to win, even if I have all the natural talents to to tell the world that I'm ready for this. I'm prepared for this. I'm naturally built for this. I have groomed myself for this. So this the voting becomes
Are you there?
I believe
Okay.
the judges and the franchise rights do have at the back of their mind what they call their prototype or whomsoever they feel best represents their outfit the most, that the voting may or may not um, them, because if I'm a franchise owner, I'm not going to say because people are paying money to vote a particular candidate or candidate A or candidate B, and that's the yardstick for me to pick my winner. I would give that individual a chance that it's people's choice, but I'm not going to use that as a yardstick to picking the winner of the pageant. So the last face of hope, um, Dami already had a fan base. Nobody saw Genevieve coming into the pageant, and all of a sudden we saw that, which is, I think she was Miss Anambra, coming into the pageant. So, do I think that the voting has influenced the Face of Hope beauty pageant in terms of their decision for Miss International? I think no. Voting did help create the momentum because we were all watching to see, hey, Rivers is taking over. Rivers is taking over. Anambra is taking over. This individual is taking over based on the vote. So it was a question of who is leading in the vote, who is able to surpass or supersede the other individual based on the votes, based on how much they can sell themselves. But it created that momentum, which was kind of a little bit exciting for the Face of Hope pageant. But that overall, if it did influence the decision of the judges,
Okay, I think his network. He'll be back. Anyways, that was really, really insightful. We're waiting for you to come back on stage so we can continue. So if I understand what you mean clearly, it states that you are actually saying that the vote did not in any way influence the decision of the judges. So judges had their own criterias that they used to collate the final result. Okay, so now for me personally, I was there in the competition, so of course I knew that Lagos State had a lot of supporters, and in as much as they had a lot of supporters, she was the leading candidate, from the beginning until Anambra almost took over, and it was a very close shot. The results were fair enough because both the winner and the first runner up, they were, the two candidates that we thought or that we were looking at even from the predictions, because we're like either of the two can take the crown, can clinch the crown rather. Okay, so I was not surprised with the result at all, but of course, the other supporters some of the supporters will not really agree with me. Some persons are saying, oh, it was Anambra's call, it was Anambra's crown rather, and some persons still felt, oh, Anambra would have made a better representative for Nigeria, being the fact that she fits into the prototype of Miss International. But another thing again, we should also look at who performed better. And the MD, the owner, rather the CEO, MC Galaxy himself, you know, actually said that that the results were going to be free and fair. There were not going to be any bias whatsoever, and the results of the results will be broadcasted. It will be televised, to be shown to the general public, so that there won't be any form of bias or any form of rigging or any form of favoritism, you know, in the final results. Okay, so yes, I felt like in a way the influence of Dami also kind of, influenced the result, because of course she was very popular. But popularity of Dami, let's just use the word popularity of Dami, kind of influenced the result, because my dear, it was between Dami and Anambra State. It was between Dami and Genevieve. That's Lagos and Anambra. It was a very you know, clear observation, that I observed. It was a clear observation. So it was not like, there was some sort of foul play. Okay, we knew that it would come down to the two of them, but who amongst the two of them would clinch the crown? That was what we did not know about. Even on that day in that hall, I will tell you that I was still skeptical on who was going to take the crown until I saw the voting, and I was like, okay, of course, Dami is going to take this. And she deserved it, at the end of the day. Anyways, thank you for your thoughts. If you're coming back to join us, I will add you to stage. So if you're here and you want to contribute to the discussion that we're having based on the results of Face of Hope pageant, kindly click on the link that was posted and join me on stage and talk about your opinion. You might not show your face, okay? It's not compulsory that you show your face. Okay, you can come on stage without your camera or without showing your face. But I just want to know your opinion. Even if it's on the comment section, let us know your opinion and on this matter. And also the Masters of Nigeria pageant that took place on Thursday. I posted my presentation of the results of the final results on YouTube here. So I'm sure some of you must have seen the video. What do you think about the final result? And I was supposed to be in that event, like seriously, I was supposed to be there, but because it was a weekday, I couldn't juggle my work and that, because of course I know that we're going to end up coming home very late. So I wouldn't want to risk that because of my work schedule. Anyways, like I said, the results were kind of free and fair based on the performance we saw on stage. But at the same time, a lot of persons had their own opinion. Okay, so that is why we are here. That is why I am, making this open discussion. Okay, for us to air our mind, our opinion on this particular topic. And for those of you that are watching, let me know your thoughts on the final results for Face of Hope and Masters of Nigeria. Okay, let's know your thoughts about it. And yeah, so like what Mr. Ziva was talking about in terms of the um, the voting in terms of Miss Independent Nigeria. For some reasons I saw that content this morning, or was it yesterday or this morning. I never knew that we had a representative going for Miss Independent, and this is a relatively new pageant. You guys know that we are still figuring out this whole thing. There's so many pageants that I don't really cover here on my channel. So when I saw this particular pageant, I was like, why was there much no much how will I put it? No much information about this particular project. It's called Miss Independent International, and Nigeria was duly represented by Echero Zomesi. Okay, so she came out online and she was canvassing for votes, you know, and I've always emphasized this on my channel when it comes to voting, that a lot of Nigerian pageant fans are not voting for their contestants, and they are the ones that really come online and shout and show a lot, it's throughout a lot of banters online, and yet they don't vote. So this we have a representative that is canvassing for our votes. But I don't know who the franchise of this particular Miss Independent International here in Nigeria is. I don't know the franchise holders, but I think that in as much as the Queen is also canvassing for votes, the franchise holders or the platform on which this particular person is canvassing for votes, they should do the needful, because a queen cannot do it alone. You can't expect a queen to go out there and do this to canvass for vote alone. What about the franchise? How far have they gone to canvass for vote? How far have they gone to even um, sensitize people, or even how will I put it? Make this known. Go to pageant bloggers, go to influencers. That is why I'm here. I've not really seen anybody come to chat me on DM and say, please canvass for my candidate. Like people do. I reach out to people. I reach out to people. Do you understand? I reach out and say, okay, can you come on the show? Or do you understand? Like, I try to reach out to people because I know that, the pageant fans here in Nigeria, most of them, if you don't push a particular candidate, they might not really want to vote for the particular person. Okay. So even if you're going with influencers, you're going with YouTubers like me, or bloggers, or normal influencers, Nigerian influencers, you need to strike that balance. You need to strike that balance. Your queen needs to go out there. What are their pet projects? How have they been able to communicate to the general public about their pageant journey? These are the things that needs to be done before you can now go and meet influencers. Because of course, we as YouTubers or the influencers you are going to meet, they need materials to work with. If you don't have the materials, then how do you expect these persons to cope? How do you expect them to be able to reach out to whoever they want to reach out to? So please try and reach out to pageant bloggers, influencers, to be able to canvass for vote on your behalf. Because right now, most times that's why I do on my Instagram page, I repost content, to create that awareness, to also help the individual to reach out to a lot of other fans, to reach out to more people. So this dear sister, our dear representative rather, she's canvassing for votes. I'm going to be sharing her on my Instagram right now, so that a lot of you can go and vote for her. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Xavier, for bringing this to my attention. Although I've seen it before, but because I did not know much about the pageant, but now that I know much about it, I've gone through it. I feel like she needs our support at this point. But I don't know if the pageant is still on, because I don't know if it's already late. But no matter what, it's better we do it than never. Okay, so let us vote for our representative to Miss Independent International. She's currently, I don't know where she is. I think she should be in Thailand or so. I don't know the Asian country that she's currently at, but she needs our vote. Okay, so let's go and vote for her. I've shared her on my Instagram stories. Okay, so the grand finale is on the 25th, 26th of April. Today is 20. Today is what? Sorry, what's today's date? Today should be 24th or so. Sorry, 25th. If I'm not mistaken, is it today or tomorrow? I don't know. So please, let's support our queen. What's today's date, please? Let me check. So it won't look like I'm guessing. Calendar. Oh, today is 26th, and the pageant is on as we speak. The pageant is on. So please, let's go and support her. That's what I'm saying. That a lot of these pageant franchise holders, they need to help the queens. They need to give them that visibility, because if you don't give that visibility, the queens cannot do it on their own. They need a support of the franchise. They need support of the platform on which they are representing. So that is just it. We can't, as pageant bloggers, we can only do what we can do from our own end. But if you, as a representative of Nigeria, reach out to us and say, oh, please help us canvass for vote, we will do it. That is what the platform is all about. And that's why we are here. We'll do it, and we would make sure that, that we give you that visibility that you're looking for. Okay, so please, let's try as much as possible to reach out to influencers, to reach out to panel bloggers. When it comes to voting, it's very, very important. And like I said, a lot of Nigerian fans don't vote, and yet they come online to banter words and bash our queens. Please, if you're not voting, you don't have the right to bash. Okay, even if you, of course, it's our job to analyze the beauty queen, but at the same time, as a pageant fan, you need to vote. Okay, they need your vote, and we cannot say we are the giant of Africa. We have the population, and yet our queens go out there and they don't win popular votes. The popular vote end up going to different countries that don't even have as much population as we have here in Nigeria. So what are we doing here? What's your job as a pageant fan if you cannot vote for your representative? So please, I can't overemphasize this. I cannot, I've always talked about this on my channel, that voting is very, very important, especially when it comes to our representatives going out there to represent the country. Vote for them, support them. Okay, please, let's try. I know that the economy of the country is not easy right now. A lot of things are going on, but support, that your one vote, two votes, three votes can go a long way to help. Okay, because we have the population, we have the means of doing that. But at the same time, I also want to call on the pageant franchise holders. Please, guys, you need to support your queen. You need to give your queen that visibility. You need to throw your weight behind your queen. Please, we have seen a lot of queens that have gone to international stage, and they did not really, it's not as if they did not do well. They performed very well, but because they did not get enough support from the franchise holders, they did not go really far in the competition. We've seen cases of where franchise holders even travel with the queen, and there was results. They saw results when they traveled with the queen. So it's not fair that you just leave the queen to go out there and represent the country without the support of the franchise. It's not really, really a good one. It's not really a good behavior from the franchise holders. So please, 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 let the franchise holders do their own part, and of course the queens will do their own part, and we, the pageant fans, will also do our own part. I am doing my own part by bringing all this information to your knowledge, by bringing that visibility to the queens, by reposting on their content on my Instagram. In fact, a lot of people have seen my content on a daily basis. So I feel like I'm doing my own part. So, but what are you doing as a pageant fan? What are you doing as a pageant fan? What is your own contribution towards representing or towards supporting our queens? So you have to do your best. You have to support, you have to vote, and you have to also drop comments on their comment section, encouraging words, support them, repost them, wish them good luck. That is what I do, okay? And I feel like at this point, of course, I criticize. Okay, when I see something wrong, I don't hesitate to criticize. But I think that criticism is what helps or what makes our queens to do better when it comes to international competitions. Because at the same time, when they know their weak points, or where they are able to how will I put it, where they're able to know the areas where they need to work on. I believe that when they go out there, they of course they would have worked on the points, or the point they would have been able to work on it and do better internationally. Okay, so that is why it's good to not sugarcoat all the time, criticize so that they can do better. Okay, those criticism helps the queens to do better. So that's it, guys. If you don't have any other um, comments, we'll end the live stream very soon. And like I said, if you're going to be watching the live stream, let us know your thoughts on the results for Face of Hope and Misters of Nigeria. For Misters of Nigeria, like I told you guys, it was a very fair result. The only thing that I would say is that probably the live stream, like I said, mentioned, the live stream wasn't that clear until later on. So I would say that the result was fair enough because, of course, the judges based it, on prototype. I don't think they were. It was based on voting. It wasn't based on voting. It was based on prototype. And I like the fact that they also have a general winner aside from the titles. Okay, so at least that the general winner is someone that has been very very consistent. That answered the Q&A and all that, but anyways, a lot of people have their own opinions about the winner of Masters of Nigeria. They felt like he wasn't a good, he didn't have a good walk on stage, and they were saying that he wasn't the best, But for me, I felt like he was the best in Q&A. But in other segments, of course, there were some lapses and all. But at the same time, I think he was very, very articulate throughout the Q&A. So his win was justified because he knows how to articulate himself. He answered the questions very well. Anyway, everybody have their own opinion. Okay, they have their own opinion, and of course, he's going to be representing Nigeria in the first pageant called Masters of Africa. Okay, so of course, he's going for an international competition because anything aside Nigeria is international. Okay, so he's going to be representing Nigeria in Masters of Africa. Okay, so I feel Anambra victory was well deserved in that area. But I feel like the titles went to the persons that fit into the prototype more. Okay, and I feel the judges, of course, they know what they were doing, and I wish them well. I wish the boys, I wish I wish the guys rather, I wish them well in their international competitions, and I'm looking forward to how they're going to represent Nigeria. Because of course, male pageantry in Nigeria is gaining attention, and so far so good. Nigeria has been consistent. Okay, say my apologies for the connection. Okay, it's fine, it's fine. If you still want to come on stage, you can still come on stage. There's still time for you to come on stage because I understand that the network is very bad in your location. But if you can, or if you want, you can still come back on stage. All right, so that is it. My next topic is going to be on the first impressions of Miss World Nigeria candidates. You guys know that they finally released the headshots for Miss World Nigeria, and of course, we have our finalists already, and they've posted their headshots and the introduction videos. So I'm going to be doing a first impression on that, and also I'll be doing a collaboration with one of my sister bloggers here on YouTube and on Instagram. Okay, so we are trying to do a collaboration. We're going to be coming on here to discuss the Miss World Nigeria pageant because that is what is currently trending now. So we're going to be jumping on trending topics. So just stay put. I will be sharing the live stream very soon, and I'll give you guys updates or heads up on the dates and the time for that particular collaboration, where we'll be discussing the candidates for Miss World Nigeria, our first impressions of them, and who we think are the standouts. Okay, so that will be the collaboration between me and another pageant blogger, of which I will not reveal yet until we set a date, okay, and time for that particular collaboration. All right, so guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. Even if we did not have a lot of contributions, but I believe that both of you, or a lot of you, or most of you that are going to be watching the live stream will definitely pin down your comment or definitely comment down in the comment section about your opinion on the results of Face of Hope and Masters of Nigeria. Okay. So, Mr. Xavier, thank you so much for coming in on the show and giving us your own opinion on the particular result. Okay. So, thank you so much for finding time to join us today. And I'm going to be seeing you all in another video or live stream. Okay. Coming up very soon. And yeah, that's it for today, guys. If you have any other question, please let me know. I'll just give about 5 minutes for questions on the comment section and we'll call it a day today. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your support. And please, if you're not following me on Instagram, go and follow me on Instagram. I always post content there every day. I always repost content there every day. I give you guys updates as well on Instagram. Okay, so please follow me on Instagram. Okay, Abe Crystal TV. Yeah, it's very easy to locate. So, like I said, I'll give about 5 minutes or less for us to ask questions, and I'll call it a day. All right, so it's going to be a very, very busy pageant season because I'm also awaiting Miss Cosmo Nigeria to release the finalists. Okay, so I'm also awaiting Miss Cosmo Nigeria to release the finalists. Okay, let me invite Mr. Stevias to stage. Okay, Mr. Xavier. Okay, allow you a moment. Okay, okay, it's fine. It's fine. So let me just give you some moments to. So, like I said, guys, I'm going to be having discussions, based off on trending topics here on my channel, and we're going to be coming up. I will be doing collaborations with a lot of pageant bloggers here who have agreed to work with me. So, we're going to be discussing general topics based on what is trending, and I think the next topic we're going to be talking about is Miss World Nigeria, like I mentioned, and also Miss Cosmo Nigeria if they have released their final list, and also Miss Grand Nigeria. Yes, I saw their flyers yesterday, and of course, there's a bit of copycat here. All these pageants are beginning to copy Face of Hope. So the Miss Grand came up with these very mouth-watering incentives, of which they said that the winner is going to go home with $5,000 and a brand new car. And this has not been done before. So a lot of all these pageants are beginning to emulate Face of Hope. And I'm telling you guys that, my dear, Face of Hope have raised the bar so high that all these pageants are looking for ways to even offset or to even offset the Face of Hope in the top as number one ranking pageant now. So Miss Grand Nigeria is calling on candidates to register in their pageant, and what they are saying is that the winner will go home with $5,000 and a brand new car. Okay, so it's a lot. Everybody is enticing a lot of beautiful girls now to join their pageant with all these incentives. Okay, so if you're interested in Miss Grand Nigeria, please go onto their page and register for the pageant. Okay, I think the pageant is coming up very, very soon, and the incentives are mouth-watering. I wish I can participate, but I cannot because I'm eyeing that car. Like seriously, I'm eyeing the car. Anyways, it is well, oh, it is well. Like seriously, I like what's really happening to pageants now. Everybody want to outsmart each other. They want to do competition with each other. I like what Face of Hope actually did, and I think that other pageants have emulated your. So other pageants are emulating their what they call it. They are emulating Face of Hope in terms of the incentives. So, like I said, Miss Cosmo Nigeria, I'm waiting for them to release their finalists, and I will discuss that as well. Miss Grand Nigeria, and also Miss Supranational Nigeria is coming up very soon. So please let us support our queen, okay? Let's support our queen. Like I said before, I'm going to be throwing my weight out, behind Nigeria's representatives. Okay, so please let's support. Okay, you said the problem is from Streamwide. I hope we shall have another opportunity to. Okay, okay. I think it's Streamwide that has the problem. Oh, okay. No problem. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, no problem. It's fine. If you can't join us to end the show, thank you so much for your contributions. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Mr. Xavier. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule to be here. I really appreciate your efforts, and most in fact, each time I approach you to come on the show, you have never disappointed me. You are always here on time, even if sometimes I have to reschedule the show. You are always here. You are always on time. And I really want to appreciate you for being a very ardent supporter of this channel. Thank you so much for also, giving us your insight into pageantry, your expertise into pageantry, expertise about pageantry rather. Thank you so much for, always being here for us. Okay. And always, coming on the show. And each time I approach you, like I said, you have never said no. You're always there for me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And for those of you that are watching the live stream, please, before you leave, like the live stream, like and share, and let us know your opinion on this particular issue. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely Sunday. Okay. Yes. Good night. Bye.